Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome from everybody at Hip Training and Hip Chef Academy and the wonderful, wonderful people of the Netherlands in Gastronomixs. Welcome to our live masterclass today. We have a wonderful treat in store for you in the light of this new COVID era. Never has it been more prominent and prevalent that we need to be working with takeaway items. So we want you to enjoy this hour, take on what you can. In the chat box, if you leave some questions, we have hosts Rory and Principal of the Academy, Paul Mannering, who will be able to answer any questions. Generally, what happens is they get answered holistically and naturally anyway, but just sit back, enjoy. This will be recorded for future use as well. And for those that sit through this entire wonderful broadcast, we've got a little early Christmas treat for you at the end that Inga's going to explain all. So I'm going to pass over to the wonderful Inga, the brains behind the brawn at Gastronomixs, so they say. So Inga, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mark. Thank you for the introduction. I will do a quick tour around the platform, around gastronomixs.com. And after that, Nik, our chef, will take over and demo 3 dishes. So let's take a look at gastronomixs.com. So this is the homepage where you can find all the benefits that the platform offers. And I'm just going to go through it real quick. And I think the most important thing to tell you, and which makes Gastronomixs unique, is that we offer recipes in the form of building blocks. So you probably all have played with Lego or are still playing with Lego sometimes. And we created building blocks in the form of recipes. So, for instance, like you see here, the Romanov sauce, the raspberry macaron, the marinated cauliflower or Hollandaise sauce, that are components that you can use to create your own dishes or adjust existing dishes. So we've ordered all these thousands of components into the categories ingredients, basic recipes, and techniques. So let's start with ingredients. And maybe, Mark, you can let me know which ingredient you would like to take a look at.
Oh, let's find something festive and quick. That's fine. Do you know what? I do love a beetroot.
The beetroot. Cool.
Absolutely.
Well, a lovely ingredient, of course, because you can use it both savory as sweet. And over here, we show you all these components that you can make with beetroot. So it varies from a creme to a crispy component. And I have to log in for a minute because after that, everything will be visible. If you scroll down, you can see all these preparations that we created with beetroot together with a lot of chefs that contribute to the platform. So yeah, from crispy beet waffles to a reduction of beetroot juice with bay leaf, for instance, and everything you can think of. And maybe look at a basic recipe. Which one, Mark, would you like to take a look at?
I think I would like to, actually, I'd like to look at cookie, if I may.
The cookies?
Yeah.
You're really into the festive season.
Well, you know, I wake up eating chocolate, so I've got 30 odd days of this left.
It's December, so you should, yeah. So yeah, over here we show you a few basic recipes that revolve around cookie dough. So for instance, the crumble or the chocolate chip cookies or the sliced butter cookies. And when we go to techniques, we also show you a whole bunch of techniques from, well, fermenting and cooking sous vide to the more basic technique like boiling. Let's take a look at boiling. And then we show you all these components that are boiled. And this is mainly a good starting point if you want to add a special technique to one of your dishes. So if I go to components in the menu, then it shows that we have over 4,000, almost 5,000 of these building blocks. And wow. Well, like I said, it really goes from crispy to a sauce to from savory to sweet and everything in between. So it's really for every cooking style or every type of dish you can find recipes and create dishes. And a few of the latest components charts involve lentils, pheasant, and octopus. So let's just take a quick look at octopus. It's really, it's from charred octopus to Korean octopus and everything in between, but also cleaning octopus, because of course you have to start where it starts. And let's take a look at one of the recipes, for instance, charred octopus. Then we always show you how much the recipe makes, the ingredients list over here, and of course a photo that you can zoom into to really look at the texture of the component and the preparation method, and then serving suggestions. So for instance, how you can combine the component, but also how you can vary on the recipe. So yeah, this is really the beating heart of gastronomics, the components. Besides that, we also offer a product calendar, which is really extensive, and it goes from fish to fruit to vegetables and everything in between. And this is, of course, especially very handy if you want to create a dish or a menu for an upcoming month. So maybe you want to look at what you can do in March and which ingredients are in season then. And if you filter on March, you can see which ingredients are in season and which are the best supply. So yeah, just a quick tour. I don't know, Mark, maybe you have anything that you want to take a quick look at?
I'm just going to say for all the viewers out there, this platform, there's a lot of resources online where you can go to one website, you can look at one resource for seasonality, this is all under one roof. I can't, and these recipes are tried and tested to the nth degree. They don't fail. They literally don't fail. I know that for a fact. So if you're going to look for a resource, and again, I'm not on commission, this is where you need to be looking. So like I say, you work through this, and Inga's got a little treat for everybody at the end. So Inga, I'm not your salesman, but I'm one of your biggest fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's what you say. We've tried and tested the recipes, and we created all the content in our test kitchen where we are today, and where our chef Nik is, I think, almost ready to start with the demo. Yeah, he's ready. So I'm gonna switch cameras, and then he's gonna explain his first dish.
Fantastic.
Yep. There you go.
Good day, everyone. Demo for today. As you can see, I don't have any ingredients here because it's Christmas, and I don't know about you guys, but over here we've got a lot of deliveries going on, a lot of takeaway, or as they sometimes say, make-away dishes. So basically, you prepare a box. So my assistant's going to hand over a box right now. Okay, it's not the most beautiful one. And then we just have all our prep ready. So I'm just prepping at home now. I'm just going to teach you guys today the things to think about when making a takeaway dish or a menu. So I'm just going to show you guys inside the box. So maybe you can notice all the little neon colored dots in orange, yellow, and green. I use these stickers just to say, for example, green is main course, yellow is dessert, orange is starter, to keep everything together and not have to write everything by hand. So I'm just going to put everything on my board and get it organized, as people should do at home. So if you make a box like this, make sure you add a description of the menu, like I have over here. So let's look at this. There's one component missing that I'm going to show you guys straight away as soon as possible. There's actually two. So for the starter, which is orange today, I've got a pork belly. I know you guys love pork belly. Some crispy pork rind, some puffed wild rice, parsley oil, sweet and sour pumpkin. I've got a langoustine prepped up and ready. With Lango, we guys know how to prep it, but the guests don't. So you have to pre-prep it and just let them reheat it, and just think about how to do this, and I'll explain quite soon. So for the main course, I've got parsnip, cooked in beurre noisette, smoked parsnip puree, like a Brussels sprouts puree, which is like cooked in butter, which is delicious, and some classic turned carrots. Here I've got the venison loin, it's deer basically, and this is not labeled, which is butter. You can add it, or you can tell your guests to make sure they have butter at home. And then for all the desserts, this is ice cream, so I'm going to put it in the freezer straight away. This is a milk crisp of salsify. And here we have some golden pearls just made from chocolate.
You have been busy.
Okay, I'm just, as normal with prep, I'm going to start with the dessert. So I'm just going to put all these things in front here. Okay. So here I've got something which is very nice. It's a Japanese chocolate tartlet. So for people at home, they love making food and they love plating the food. But if you have them 3-course, 4-course, 5-course menus at home, people want to sit down and have a good time as well. So I'm going to make a dessert which is layered. So on the bottom I've got a nougatine of almonds. Over here, second layer is basically preserved Jerusalem artichoke. Up on top of that, a Jerusalem artichoke toffee with cardamom and lemon peel and hazelnut butter on top. So I'm just going to make a little, tartlet, or it's going to be more of a soft chocolate mousse with a filling. So I've got the namalaka mixture prepared, which is basically a Japanese name for silky smooth, which it is. It's based on tangerine. So I'm just going to pour a little in the bottom. Not sure if you guys can see. So it's on baking or parchment paper. And just because of the parchment paper, I just allowed the mixture to set a little. It's not going to pour out on the bottom. Now I'm just going to put this in the middle. And we're just going to top it up with this mixture and put it in the freezer so it's ready when the demo is finished. Here we go. So it's covered all the way up, like a neat little tartlet. And obviously you can make a lot of these in advance. Just give them some garnish to play with, but now all your flavors are in the right dimensions together already. Okay. Let's start at our start. I have a dish made of pumpkin, langoustine, and pork.
Do you need the warm water or not?
Yeah, I will need it.
Because it ticks.
So sous videing is perfect for microwave food. So I've got this sous vide pork belly. It's cured with a little bit of pink salt, or saltpeter salt, as you might know that. Cured for 6 hours. and then it's sous vide 70 degrees for 10 to 16 hours. So it's nice and pink. I'm not sure if you can see.
Mm-hmm.
In the restaurant, I would just pop it into a runner bath or a sous vide bath to warm up slowly. But at home, you just have no thermometer normally. Like all your guests will not have a thermometer for their like cooking heats, but you should not think they would have a thermometer. So what I would recommend, is ask them to put a pot of boiling water on and just measure out how much boiling water it should be. So say it's like 2 liters, then just say 2 liters, 1 bag of this, and just pop it into the hot water and let it sit until it's warm. You just measure it out in the restaurant. Just gonna take it off the stove. It's just gonna cool down the water and warm up the pork, so it's gonna be a nice, I think 80 or 75 degrees, so you don't want to overcook it. So I think about 6 to 7 minutes. And I've got the langoustine. You can see it's cooked a bit on the outside. So cooking langoustine is a very particular job for a chef already. But just imagine people doing it at home and not doing it right, and your dish is ruined. That would be a waste. So now I've just torched it simply with a blowtorch and chilled back very, very quickly, so it doesn't cook further. So on the inside, on the bottom, it's still raw. So now I can measure, okay, I've got an oven for the whole menu at 1 temperature, so the guests cannot fuck up the temperature of the oven. Excuse my language. Hopefully it's chefs anyway. So on a professional oven, it's 110 degrees Celsius. I would recommend for a conventional like home oven with a fan on 120, 125 degrees, and without a fan 130 for the whole menu. Because it's a soft cook, but it's mostly just warming up.
And that's interesting what you say, because it's with every preparation, right? That the home oven is different from a professional oven, and then you have to.
Yeah, a lot of the times, like we're a website for professional chefs, and not a lot of chefs know, but the oven at home doesn't react the same as the oven at work. So when you're making like a very soft set tarts, like a lemon pie or whatever, you want the custard to have a very soft set. So you do it at 130 degrees at the restaurant. But if you do it at home, it's going to take forever. So just turn it off 15 degrees and it's going to go just as fast as the restaurant.
Okay.
Okay. So for the lango, I want to add the sauce. It's basically a jus, and it's my signature dish. A nice lango stock. Yeah, I don't want to waste a lot of lango stock on my customers, and I can't ask them to have like tiny saucepans for just 1 or 2 cups. So I just reinvented the recipe to make it like a glaze. So I'm going to just glaze my langoustine. Just going to add it to this tray. So I've got this at work. But guess what? Probably won't have it at home. I'm just going to glaze with a nice spoon. Can you see?
We can see. It looks fantastic.
If you have any questions, please ask. So it's glazed now. My pork is heated up. I'm gonna pop this in the oven. You can start plating quite soon.
Inga, have you had to do a lot of work with chefs? Have you had a lot of questions regarding takeaway?
Sorry, say again?
Have you had a lot of chefs come to you and approach you about takeaway and how they can make it better?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the first lockdown, so March, April, we asked a lot of chefs how they do it and share all the knowledge with our users. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that's the temperature thing of the oven is really a critical one, because if that goes wrong, then you have unsatisfied guests, and they will be calling your restaurant as soon as it's not working in their home kitchen. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good advice. I did a Christmas box at my last restaurant. It was like 2 years ago. We just made the boxes the first time a month in advance, and we just asked 5 of our most regular guests to try out our Christmas menu. So it needs to be easy. It needs to be set for all the home equipment. So don't ask them to have a thermal blender. They don't have it. But just oven, hobs. Think of, they only have one saucepan probably. Like we've seen takeaway menus from people who having saucepans on the menu. It doesn't work because people only have one.
Yeah.
So yeah, just consider being at home. If you have a very equipped home kitchen and you're not at home a lot, just ask regulars, parents, friends, whatever. They can always assist you, and they will be super happy if they can taste it. And ask them to be super critical as well. Okay, so I'm going to start plating. In the meantime, I just popped in the pumpkin puree as well. So that should be warm now. Because these are so portioned, these packing bags, the piping bags, they will heat up super quick. They're completely warm, and they're in for a minute and a half.
I see 2 questions coming in, but I'll ask them at the end of this dish, if that's okay.
No, thank you, Inge.
Go in between.
I think Nick's definitely going to deserve a beer when he's finished.
Okay, just take these out with tongues or whatever. It can be quite. So you can see I portioned it two ways. There's a thin, flat one, and there's a cubed one. I would recommend going for this one because it warms up much quicker throughout than this one. But I just want to show you. I'm going to test it out myself right now because I've had it for 4.5 minutes. This one is warm all the way through. Just gonna cook it on the fat. I can feel like the texture is still a bit cold in the middle of this one, but it should be warm through anyway. Just gonna take out the mango. At 3 minutes. So it's cooked perfectly.
Wow.
And the other component is it was pumpkin, right?
Yeah, roast pumpkin.
Okay.
So you see I've got these aluminum takeaway trays. They basically substitute these trays from the restaurant. I like to put in a little parchment paper because these aluminum trays tend to burn very, very quickly. Because they put the heat through quite easily. So yeah, because my pork's already warm and hot, I only need to crisp up the skin. Well, it's basically the skin's cut off. I cook them with skin and then just portion it, cut the skin off so it's a nice clean cut on top.
Oh.
These are my tweezers.
Nope.
I'm gonna do with that. So I'm just gonna play around. You can always add a picture of the guest how to plate it. But a lot of guests will just not do it exactly the same or not even the same at all. So I got some sweet and sour. Oh, it's supposed to be.
Ah.
Circles of pumpkin, just around the dish. This one should be cooked, almost. Okay. As you can see, my portioning is, I got a lot more pork than langoustine. That's another point for your takeaway menu. If you want to make a lot of profit, make sure your menus aren't too expensive for the festive season, because people have had a hard time with Corona as well, with the pandemic, probably. So you still have the luxury langoustine, but the pork belly takes the menu cost down. A little bit of salt. I got some pork rinds which are cooked. Just in a very, very hot oil. With some wild rice as well. Just gonna put it on top of the cream. The creaminess wants some crunch added to it. To finish it all up, I got the beautiful green oil. So when making green oils of herbs, I tend to use a 1-to-2 ratio. So if you have 100 grams of green herbs, add 200 grams of, I like to use grapeseed oil, and it turns out super green.
It's a fantastic job.
80 degrees in the thermal blender. It's just going to add a lot of flavor. So it's a very simple composition of langoustine and pork belly, which are two friends. People love the flavors together. It's got the sweetness, and I added the acidity with the sweet and sour pumpkin, and the glaze is also quite a bit of acidity in there.
All that from a box. You can't go wrong.
I'm just going to wrap this up, and Inge will show you some of the ingredients and how to create different kind of variations on this dish using the modularity of the components.
All right. So I saw some questions on both YouTube and Facebook. Maybe it's good to answer those first because, well, you've been waiting for the answer. Emma asks, what do you think the advantages are for offering takeaway food from a dine-in a restaurant?
I think the biggest advantage as a restaurant, you can say to your staff, guys, you worked so hard this year, like every year. You worked so hard this year. If you do takeaway, you all set it up. You only have to work one afternoon of Christmas. You're home both evenings. Every one of the staff, you just have to give the boxes to the guests. And it's basically a big relief into the Christmas for the whole restaurant family as well. So you just make your signature dishes as beautiful as possible. But then at home, or you're at home during the evening, which is beautiful, like in a restaurant, who can say they have Christmas off? So that's such a huge advantage.
You did it a few years, right?
I never worked with Christmas. All the restaurants I worked at, they had either a policy of just being closed or a policy of doing the takeaway dishes. We did a 450 to the first year, and the second year 550 boxes. Like covers of boxes.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Which is like, I think it was like 15,000 euros worth of sales in 2 days.
That's amazing, yeah. And another question from Ian Williams on Facebook. At this time of the year, there are plenty of chestnuts and dates. What kind of things would you recommend to do with these?
With the chestnuts, I see a lot of the restaurants make just a chestnut puree, but it's so versatile. You can make like a beautiful chestnut parfait with a bit of caramel or beurre noisette. I know my principal of my cooking school, her favorite ingredient besides foie gras was the marrons or chestnuts. She was trained in France, and they use it in a lot of desserts. So it's very, very suitable for sweet dishes. But also, I've used it just toasted in the oven, not too far, so a bit of that raw taste still, and just grate it heavily with a microplane, so you get like a whole snow of chestnuts over your venison, or it just adds that earthy, like forest flavor to a dish, which I think is beautiful.
Lovely. And another question from Ian: do you think a lot of restaurants will continue to offer takeaway or cook at home offers when things are going back to normal? Do you think there will be a change in eating habits and less appetite for dining in? For fine dining, I should say.
I think a lot of restaurants will consider it, and the people who've enjoyed doing it, they will maybe have a like a takeaway option, or take one or two tables out of the restaurant, so have more focus on those tables and do the takeaway on the side. Like it's a extra sales channel in your restaurant. But a lot of restaurants will just go back to normal as soon as possible because they've had a really, really hard time. And it's a different kind of creativity, like asked for takeaway.
Yeah.
It's just a whole different ballgame.
And for change in eating habits, I personally hope that everyone is sort of waiting and longing for going back to the restaurants. But
I think I'm a bit afraid that the guests will stay away for longer than the reopening. Like
yeah.
They'll be afraid to go back into the restaurant industry, which I hope they won't. But yeah, like if I was a restaurateur right now for the reopening, I would really, really check my margins and like have an extra vegetarian dish to get the ratios up. Like you need to make that extra profit now. You've made so many losses, and surprise the guests with creativity instead of expensive products. Because the team you have and the ingredients you have to buy in every day. So if you can cut somewhere, it's the products. So you don't have to buy shitty products, just exchange a truffle for a carrot, which makes creativity go up and get your team, do some cool stuff.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna give you some time to wrap up the kitchen and clean up the kitchen for a second, and I'm gonna do a quick tour to the website again. I already typed in langoustine in the search bar, and then it shows a lot of results already, but I'm going for the ingredients to show all the components that we have at this point, because we're adding recipes every week. So it's a never-ending source of inspiration, I would say. So Nik used the langoustine and he burned it a little bit. And of course we have all kinds of different langoustine preparations available. So let's say this carpaccio or the leek battered langoustines, the cutlets, or even a fried in super crispy tempura langoustine. And then again, if you want to change the langoustine component because it's not suitable for takeaway in your opinion, or it's not suitable for the dish, or you just want to switch around with preparations, just look at it as a building block and make your creativity modular in such a way that you can change components and adjust your dishes very easily. In the dish there was also pumpkin, so I'm gonna type in pumpkin in the search bar and take a quick look at these components of pumpkin and butternut squash. Nik used the oven roasted pumpkins, But of course, we have a butternut squash toffee, also a sweet and sour preparation, even a mousse and a soup and a sauce. So yeah, basically every technique or preparation you can think of, we offer. And well, let's take a look at one recipe. This creme makes 950 grams. It's made of roasted pumpkin, ponzu, sushi vinegar, sunflower oil, and some salt. And over here you can read the preparation method and see some serving suggestions. So to, well, get your creative juices flowing and point you in a direction if needed, you can use these suggestions. Are you ready, chef, for the next dish?
I am ready.
Okay, great. Then I'm gonna switch over the camera to you. There you are again.
Okay. So for the next dish, I've got the very simple, very nice fondant Brussels sprouts. This is a smoked bone marrow. I'm just gonna pop it in the oven to get soft as well. And I'm just gonna put on a slice onto the cooked venison. So I'm just gonna start with popping this in the oven. And I got extra trays for my main course. Can you see that? Click over there. I'm just gonna pop it in the oven. I'll go for 8 to 10 minutes. These are my two purees. So this is a Brussels sprouts puree, which is basically the fondant style Brussels sprout, then blended with a bit of chicken stock and salt and deliciousness. This is a smoked parsnip puree, which makes it super smooth. Like the cooking process of this recipe, it makes it super smooth puree. Just gonna pop it in the hot water, take it off so it doesn't boil. In here, we have our jus. So it's been reduced to very, very thick, but as you can see, it's already thinned down because of being in the bag and the gelatin softens. So I just need to reduce that a bit. I did this a bit too far in advance. So if you do it in a restaurant, give it a bit of a finish with cornstarch or potato starch or whatever. Don't go too far. But I've got the beautiful pre-cooked venison loin.
And how did you pre-cook it?
Okay, I rolled the venison loin, so it's a tenderloin of the venison. I rolled it in cling wrap, super tight, vacuumed it in a bag, and cooked it for 1 hour at 54.5 degrees. So I covered it in this box with a bit of plastic, so it stays nice and moist. And in the bottom, I got an extra bit of plastic with a bit of, basically the kitchen towel, but not the paper one, but you get like the new ones. I'll show you.
The thicker ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a...
Excuse me.
We use these ones. This is not product placement, by the way. So it's like a tissue napkin, but doesn't leave any fibers on your food. So it's perfect for keeping your food nice and moist while draining a bit of. So I'm gonna start cooking this in a pan. But because it's been sous vide to perfect cuisson and cooled back straight away, it just needs to sear. I know they used to say sear in the juices, which is obviously false, because the longer you sear it, the more juices go away. As you can see, the outside of the venison has been a bit discolored, but that's what the game does basically. When it's cooking and touching oxygen, just changes color a bit. So I portioned it afterwards, and it's you can see the change in color. So I'm just going to brown it all the way.
Would that be something that you mention on the list that you...
Definitely make your guests aware of the product being natural and what happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same with, don't get your guests to slice apple the day before, you know, it's going to get brown. It's oxidation.
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of grab some tongs. So, hot pan, bit of oil. I always sear it with oil, color it with butter, and then I'll put it into a tray, into the oven, which is still at 110 degrees. It's a professional one, so home one, 125 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to pop the jus into a saucepan. It needs to reduce a bit further. So for Christmas, if you can make all your demi-glaze yourself, amazing. Like you're one of a kind, probably. What I did, I always made it for my restaurant myself. For Christmas, I did 50% homemade, 50% bought in. I just looked up the supplier and made its own jus, so it's not a big company kind of jus. Did you turn this one on?
Is that okay?
I'm just gonna go smoking very heavily. So that just saves a lot of money because it's a lot of time. It's quite time consuming to do it for takeaway. So this pan is smoking hot. Just gonna pop it on. So while that's stirring,
Smells fantastic, I must say.
because I can't do two things at a time, so I'm very focused on the meat and can't cook at the same time. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Hi Nick, it's Rory here. Nick, we've got another question from Ian in the chat. He's been quite vocal today. What food trends do you think will be popular in 2021? Do you think there'll be another trendy ingredient?
What do you think will be the next trendy ingredient?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think considering the time, it's not going to be an expensive ingredient for change. And people are going to enjoy something that's just spectacular because it's simple. Maybe like celeriac or... Okay, I'm just going to pop this into the oven at 110 degrees so it can get a bit of heat inside. 2 minutes. Meantime, I'm going to just wrap up this. Yeah, searing meat, especially when it's pre-cooked, high heat, just color. Butter colors much quicker. In and out of the pan within a minute, so it doesn't cook. You will see like a perfect ring of sear and perfect cuisson for the rest because it's sous vide. Okay, I'm just gonna grab a plate. Now, a lot of guests want to make something spectacular without a lot of effort. So I'm going to show you guys a little trick. Okay, this choux is basically made of spices. We call it the wild grub. It's on Gastronomixs, and the choux is coming online very soon as well. So it's juniper, bay leaf, coriander seed, mustard seed, peppercorns. So I'm just shallots, onion, garlic, butter, fry off, add the spices, get some like glazy onions, and then deglaze with red wine. Reduce all the way down so it's like almost syrupy. And then you add some beetroot juice, reduce that down, add half veal stock and half, I use duck stock, but any game will do. And it makes a beautiful, like, rich, dark, shiny choux sauce, whatever you want to call it. Just gonna put these bags open. So this is something you can prevent from happening. Pretty sure some people will use the condom, but if you squeeze the tip when you knot it, it doesn't come like this when it's hot because it needs a bit of space to expand. All right. You see?
Yeah. All there.
So I'm just going to add 3 dots of the parsnip puree, 2 dots of the Brussels sprouts. Here it comes. It's so simple. And then we have a beautiful layered puree. All right, I'm just gonna grab the food from the oven. I'm gonna allow the deer to rest for a minute or 2. And then we have the garnish. The aluminum loses heat very quickly. So this is the smoked bone marrow, parsnip, turned carrots, baby carrots, and fondant Brussels sprouts. So I'm just gonna start with a parsnip. Here's my tweezers. I almost forgot that I've got some crispy Brussels sprouts as well. So I've got some crispy Brussels sprouts, which are deep fried until they're golden brown, and take them out. They won't get crispy in the fryer. So after that, just put them in the hot box or in the food dehydrator. That's beautiful. So carrots. So it's quite classic, this one. And if I would be making a home menu, you want people to get full. So I haven't added any potato garnish in this dish. I would add like a gratin for the family, you know? So you can put a potato gratin on the table, have main courses on the side. It's much easier. It's already here. So I'm just gonna slice the venison in half. Hopefully it's cooked perfectly. All right, I'm just gonna add a bit of touches molten salt.
That looks fantastic.
And then we've got the bone marrow. I'm gonna slice as well. That's beautifully cooked.
You smoked it, right? The bone marrow.
The bone marrow is smoked, hot smoked. Okay, I'm just gonna pop that onto the venison. This one I'm gonna pop on the side so you can see the cooking degree of doneness. So the venison is beautiful and pink. Pink and my assistants will keep up the plates.
That's a stunning dish. Very nice.
What do you say? It's nice?
What are the meats?
Oh, that's some shooting.
Now it's finished.
That's it. So it's venison. This is bone marrow. Those two. They're smoked for 15 minutes, and that cooks it enough, or you either cook it sous vide after. Some puree, so smoked parsnip and caramelized Brussels sprouts, fondant Brussels sprout. This is the parsnip cooked in beurre noisette. Some turned carrots à la Vichy, very classic. And then we got a game chew based on beetroot juice, spices like bay leaf and juniper berry, peppercorns, coriander seed, mustard seed. Very earthy dish, perfect for the season. But the richness of the bone marrow makes it super nice for Christmas. But it's not as expensive as foie gras or truffle. So you will actually surprise your guests and save some money.
That's fantastic. What other meats could you use, chef, if you couldn't get venison or if you didn't
If
like
you couldn't
venison?
get which ingredient, Mark?
Venison. If you couldn't get venison or you didn't like it, what other meat could you use?
Like a very aged, dry-aged tenderloin, like beef fillet, would go perfect, but your size are a bit bigger then. So your plating will be a bit different. It would be a perfect fit for either like entrecôte would be nice.
All right.
All right. I'm just going to reset the kitchen for the dessert,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get back.
I don't know if there are any questions coming in. Rory, maybe you could tell.
I know there's a couple of people like Victoria saying, would this concept, would it be home delivered and then plated up, or would it be something that's done by the people themselves?
Yeah, I think, of course, the Gusto and HelloFresh box. We have the HelloFresh box in the Netherlands too. That are all uncooked ingredients, of course, but they are measured, so it makes it so easy for the guest, or in this case the cook, to prep it. But of course, if you like Nik is demoing it right now, most components are cooked already until a certain stage. So the guest at home will only have to finish it. But if you, of course, use HelloFresh, you have to start cooking from scratch. Yeah.
I think it's a great middle ground, isn't it? Something like this, something that customers can do themselves without going through all the intricate places. There's quite a few restaurants that I know of that are trying to do this rather than trying to plate it up and then get it delivered and then it completely fell apart on the plate.
Yeah, and of course it's not like a daily meal that is just to feed, but it's really a bit more festive, and it's the fine dining twist that makes it special. Yeah, and I see a lot of people are getting hungry now. Well, I can assure you, if you can smell it, it's not getting it's not getting better. Maybe I can run through some of the recipes on Gastronomixs again, because we've seen a preparation of venison, of course, and well, we've got a whole bunch of other venison preparations, like for instance this carpaccio, but also black pudding from venison. And in the Netherlands we call it bitterballen, but it are mini croquettes filled with venison rendang in this case. And this was the version that Nik showed you, so the pan-fried fillet of venison. And yeah, of course, again, you can vary on this preparation as much as you like, and you can change the components around as it suits you. I'm gonna type in sprouts in the search bar for Brussels sprouts. And here again, I think this was the preparation that Nik showed you. So the fondant of Brussels sprouts, it's cooked in a pan with a lot of butter, and then sort of steamed. And then, yeah, you could change this recipe for another component. And over here you can find more than 20, I think, Brussels sprout components. And yeah, I think if Nik, if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Then we're gonna switch around and go for the dessert again.
Okay.
All right.
Here I have some chocolate, because we just made the tartlet. I'm going to show you how it turned out. It's not a Jamie Oliver cooking show, so this is the one I just did on camera. I just took it off. So I'm just going to put this on the plate within a few minutes. Just going to let it set in the fridge and let it set a bit more. In the meantime, I'm going to make some aerated chocolate. So it's what you need is a water bath, chocolate, siphon, and you have those containers that go into that have a valve on top. I'm not sure if you have those in the UK. Probably you do, but you can put in the sous vide, and they can handle a bit of pressure. Well, here in Holland we have a different kind of container, which is just 2 shells with a box in it, and it just can withstand any pressure, like until 100% vacuum or 99% vacuum. So this one's been in the water bath as well, so it's warm. It's essential that your siphon is warm as well, so your chocolate stays at temperature as long as possible to make it as aerated as possible. Make sure it's super dry. So the ratio of chocolate to cocoa butter is 400 grams of dark chocolate and 40 grams of cocoa butter. So it's 1 to 10 ratio. So this is enough yield for half a liter of the siphon.
Will you still need the oven?
No. So I'm just going to put this on top. Got to work quite quickly with these, but they will set quite quick as well. So you need to add 2 of the cartridges. And make sure you don't use the CO2 ones. You need the ones for whipping cream, so don't get spicy. So what this does, it makes a very nice, light, airy foam, like a spuma of chocolate. And under vacuum, the bubbles expand, so the bubbles get bigger. You want to find a sweet spot for the bubbles, so it's like the arrow bar. I think it's called arrow bar, right, in English?
I'm not sure. Paul says yes, so it is.
All right. So to get this set up, just going to fill this container up. This is perfect. Lid on top. This one doesn't have. And I just vacuum it. So I did the chocolate almost halfway up the tub, or like to 1/3, and now it's up to 2/3, but the bubbles are perfect. So we'll pop this in the freezer. And also for your home meals, ice cream is perfect, parfait is perfect. Just measure how long it takes to get to a perfect scooping temperature. Just pop one out in the restaurant and check every 4 minutes, and when it gets softer, okay, 7 minutes would do it, or whatever. Just with the lid on top, so it melts as much even as possible. So now I got my tartlet. I'm going to take out this ring. Hopefully it's set enough. There it is.
Perfect.
That's beautiful. And then we can play around with some garnish.
But you would let the guests make this at home themselves?
Which one?
The namalake?
I wouldn't. It is super easy. Like you cannot screw it up because you don't need whipped cream. It's not gonna split because you might be able to get the guests to do it, but you need to do it quite far in advance. And it is a very easy skill for a chef, but a very hard skill for a home cook.
Yeah.
So I would be not a fan of letting the home cooks do this. So I got the lemon gel or citrus gel, whatever you'd like. I'm gonna add some dots around. I'm not a pâtissier, so I'm not perfect with piping. These are actually quite cool. We had a photo shoot for a new kind of compositions and component making program we just started. This is salsify, cooked in milk syrup. So it's 50% milk, 50% sugar, and then dehydrated. So it's cooked until soft, laid out flat on parchment paper into the dehydrator overnight, 12 to 14 hours, gets super crispy. So it's a nice garnish for any vegetable-based dessert. So this one's with Oh, you ate it already. Oh.
I ate it, sorry.
You might have heard the crispy sound in the back there. It's super crispy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then these are the super easiest garnishes you have. But these are just the butter and chocolate pearls coated with a bit of edible gold powder. Or you could just take whatever grandma's watch and put it in the thermal blender. So this works better. To make it super Christmassy, put those around. This is actually quite a cool recipe. It's been done by a lot of famous chefs. It's basically a milk foam.
I won't eat it this time,
No,
promise.
you can't. I need it.
I know.
It's a milk foam made with glucose and milk, and it's a 1:5 ratio. 500 mils milk, 100 grams of glucose, and you just heat it up to like 80, 85, 90 degrees, and you start thick blending it. And it starts foaming very heavily and starts stabilizing. And then you just scoop it onto a parchment paper, silicone paper, or just onto a tray. Dehydrate it in the oven, and it goes like super crispy, and it just tastes like milk. So these are a bit of like clouds or crispy or.
It also stays quite crispy, right? It doesn't soak up any liquid that quick.
Not that quick.
No.
But if you have a lot of crispies in your menu, what you can do is have a lot of boxes and just put them in a vacuum bag and seal it. If they're in a dry environment, and then it doesn't get moist when transported, like outside and in the car, and which are all moist places. So this is basically the basic dessert. I should have done a bit of pre-prep for the broth arrow chocolate because it's not going to set in time, which is a bit of a mistake on my part. But maybe Inge can show it on the website.
Yeah, I can.
It is on the oyster one.
Don't worry about that, Nick. Don't worry about that.
You want to show the dish?
Yeah, it just needs a bit of ice cream.
And you would do the ice cream on the side, or?
Yeah, just a little, whatever.
Right. Fantastic. Wow.
So yeah, this was also in the box. I didn't notice. If you grab some water.
That looks.
Well, there were some questions, I believe.
Let's have a look. Would you like me to read one out, Inga, while you're there?
Yeah, I don't know if you're able to read through some questions.
I can do that for you, not a problem. We've got a question here relating back to the main course about the beetroot juice used for its earthy flavour in review, or is it just a question?
Yeah, I don't know, Nick, if you heard it, but the beetroot juice, is it for the earthy flavor, or is it just a personal preference?
It's just for this game, Jew. I need that sweetness, and the earthiness goes well with, like, a lot of game goes very well with earthy flavors like celeriac, beets, and the sweetness you need in the sauce, and it makes it super nice and shiny. And also a lot of venison jus don't get thick as quick as a jus de veau or like a veal stock. So you need to reduce it very heavily, and the flavor gets very, very, very intense, too intense. So having that syrupy base of red wine and beetroot makes it easier to make it a like nice coated chew instead of the super heavily and too strong of a flavor chew.
And maybe one question to wrap it off. Do you have any, or maybe a final tip or trick that you could suggest for a stressful Christmas isn't a stressful event?
To make it less stressful for the people at home or for the chefs itself?
Maybe both. But
Maybe both. Plan ahead. At this moment, we have a blog online in English website. We will share it down there quite soon, which is about planning. So it's now the 2nd of December, so we have another 22 days until Christmas Eve, I believe. I'm not very good with numbers. So yeah, you got another 3 weeks in advance to plan. So you should have your Christmas menu ready within a week and start doing all your dry garnishes, like any like soils, meringues, crisps. You can already make gels, keep for 2 to 3 weeks. Purees, like we did these purees almost a month in advance to restaurant in bags like this. But just make sure it's purees you can freeze. Like that parsnip puree, it's so creamy and so like beautiful and fine. You can freeze it easily and like defrost it like this, and it's perfect. So you just have crates of everything in the freezer. Yeah. And just think about how you're going to sell your menus. So we did everything in bags of 2 and 4 portions. So you have just measure it out. This is like a 2-portion bag, 4 portions bag, and you just do 50 grams, 100 grams. Have a lot of these, more of these, because the bag is money as well. So the bags are just as expensive, probably more expensive than the puree itself. So measuring out and having like perfect ratio of your bags is essential. And just have a few of the like 1-person bags to make a 3 or 5 cover, because you won't have a lot of those. You don't need a lot of those. So that makes it much easier to plan ahead and be on the ball and make people responsible for parts of the menu. Like if people are on starters, make sure they're responsible to have their starter prep ready 3 weeks in advance, 2 weeks in advance, a week in advance. Dry stuff, dressings, marinades, and then the week itself you do your fresh stuff and your finishing touches, and off you go. Like packing is a job itself already, so you need planning. That's the easiest. And for the people at home, just make a funky gesture. Like we used to do the little paper hats for the chef hats for the guests, and make like a nice note, and it takes off the edge already. Like make it like the texture right. It needs to be personal. It needs to be like you're in the home kitchen. If you go very professional language, try to avoid that. You want to comfort people and make sure they are easy to follow your recipes. That's the easiest.
Yeah, so it won't be stressful, but it will be a joy cooking together with your guests.
If something goes wrong, just make a sentence as well. You know, like if something goes wrong, nothing can go wrong anyway. So it's all beautiful and delicious, and it's over. Just set timers. Tell them to use their phones and have different phones ready. Like they all have timers. So timing. That's essence.
All right. Is the ice cream ready to go on the plate?
Yeah, it's soft on the bottom, not on the top. How am I gonna do this? Just gonna pop it on.
It can be rustic.
Yeah, I churned it up like a week ago, so it's a bit solid. Because I was planning.
Planning.
Maybe in the meantime, I see Marshall, if I pronounce it correctly, is asking a question on Facebook. The webpage that shows all the recipes, that is Gastronomixs.com, and I will jump on it really, really quickly to just show you the preparation that Nik made in the so-called oysterize. That's a compartment to cook sous vide and make airy structures, or not sous vide, sorry, vacuum, and to make airy structures. And this is it's in Dutch, but this is the airy structure of chocolate that he was making. And we will make sure that these kind of recipes will be available on the English website too soon. And yeah, this is the page where you can find all the components that Nik has been demonstrating in the last hour. And then, yeah, Nik.
Yeah.
The ice cream is on the plate, so we're finished.
Yeah, we're finished. I just did it like a home cook because it's really hard on top.
Fantastic. Wow, look at that.
A little tartlet, which makes it super easy and fun, and kids can decorate, but all your flavors are in there. So it's your signature, just played it differently.
Wonderful.
All right.
Superb as always, Nik. Thank you.
So yeah, to wrap it up, Mark, like you mentioned in the beginning, we have this offer for all the people watching. Normally you get 2 weeks of free access on Gastronomixs, and you can experience the platform yourself and give it a decent test drive. But now we want to offer all the people watching 4 weeks of free access. And the only thing that you have to do is send us a chat message. So if you go to the platform, gastronomixs.com, you have this chat button at the right bottom of the website. It's orange. Click on it and just send a message, and I will respond to you personally and give you 4 weeks of free access.
You are too kind, Ingo. You are too kind. You're also getting a compliment on your pronunciation of Marshall's name as well, so he's a happy man.
Yeah, well, we're in the Christmas mood, right?
Yeah, too right. Well, we need to be at the moment. But I'd just like to thank you for your time, your efforts, the sensational food, and all the learning.
Thank you so much for having us. Thanks, Hit, for having us. Also on behalf of Nik.
No, the learning that has been covered here today for people that are watching this live, or we have come out of lockdown today in a lot of areas. We'll catch this up later. You've given us a lot of skills and food for thought, so thank you very much for that. All I'll say is stay safe. If I don't speak to you before, have a very, very Merry Christmas from everybody at Hit Training and Hit Chef Academy. And everybody, follow, share. Hospitality industry isn't just restaurants and bars and pubs. It's all very vital platforms like this as well. So let's share the love, everybody. Take care, everybody. From everybody at Hit Training. Thank you, Nik. Thank you very much for your jacket. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Big love.
Thanks.
Big love.